Okay members, welcome to tutorial 1, white belt syllabus, first stripe. We'll go through the 5 drills required for first stripe white belt grading, a bit more in depth than the 50 move video that's currently on our members group. So let's start with the mount drill. So first off, these 5 drills are really about how do we control our opponent as we move from position to position, or how do we control our opponent as they move from position to position and we try and stay in control. A big concept with all of these drills is how we control our opponent through the shoulders and the hips, and we'll look at a fair bit of that. That'll get mentioned quite a lot. So these are the first 5 drills in adult white belt first stripe and teens white belt first stripe. So the mount drill, let's have a look at that. So if we get Mitchell just here. So obviously we're going to start in the mount. Just to go 45 for a second. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so first of all we'll just discuss the 2 mount positions that we'll be dealing with here. Obviously we're in top mount, and we've got 2 types of top mount, which is attacking top mount. So that's where I am here, on my knees, up off his hips. From here we can strike, we can attack the arms. So attacking mount. We've also got defensive mount. So if I come down to defensive mount, I'm nice and low with my hands out wide, my fingers facing out, and we're here in defensive mount. So defensive mount, attacking mount. So this first mount drill is really keep the mount drill. So we're going to try and stay in the mount and stay in control as our opponent moves and does some things we need to counter with. So the first few things is we're going to start in attacking mount. So I'm up here in attacking mount. My partner will grab my belt here, and what they're looking to do is throw us off over the front there. So as our opponent throws us, what we're going to do is we're going to land. So he gives it a big bridge. I'm going to land with my hands here, and then what I need to do is drop my hips low, squeeze with my legs, and then I'm going to walk my hands back so I can push off their shoulders and then come back up to attacking mount. So we do that a couple of times. Let's look at that. He's going to throw us forward, walk back, and come back to here, go again. Make sure we grab with our legs like we're riding a horse, nice and tight. We stay low, we walk back, we kill the hips with our hips. We come back to attacking mount. Then what he's going to do is he's going to grab the belt again. He's going to try and throw us more to the side. So same thing, as he throws us to the side, I'm going to base with my hand out wide. The other hand's going to hook the side of the head. Okay, so I land, I'm going to walk myself back to the front, and then walk myself back again. So if Mitchell goes the same way again, over here, I'm going to walk myself back again. So just slide back a bit. Yeah, I'll just come back to the centre of this mat. Perfect. Right, so let's have a look at that again. We're in attacking mount. He tries to throw us to the side. I'm going to plant this hand, grab his head, squeeze with my legs, right? And then we're going to walk ourselves around to the front again. And then I'm going to push myself back. We'll just have a look at something. I'm going to jump to the bottom for a second. So Mitchell's going to jump to mount. So what you'll see here when I do this is, when I do this bridge, I'm going to really lift my hips up. So what Mitchell's got to do is land with his hands on the ground, but as he walks his hands back in, his hips have to squash my hips back to the ground. So if you look at this and I go to throw him forward here, I'm going to really lift my hips and keep my hips up. Right, so I'm going to do this. So he's got to walk back and kill my hips and then push himself back up. Okay, so if I do that again to the side this time, he's going to base with his hand out wide, he's going to grab my head, and then he's got to walk himself back to the front and then kill my hips as he walks back in. So I go forward. you can see there in a realistic scenario there in that mount escape, what I'm trying to do is really throw Mitchell forward, get my hips up, and even get my legs involved so I can invert, maybe take his back or escape out the back door there. So that's why it's really important when we come here. So when Mitchell throws me forward and he's really like lifting his hips and trying to bring his legs up to invert, to maybe insert a foot. You might be trying to stick a foot in here, whatever, right? So what I've got to do is say, keep your hips off the ground. So bring your legs up. So you'd be like hovering with your feet up, trying to get your legs up, like this. So don't hold me up with your arms, I'm going to like this. But really bring your hips up. So what I've got to do is walk back, kill his hips. See that? So every time we walk back, we've got to think about, I'm going to pin his hips back down again, then pin his shoulders, then get back to mount. So that's our attacking mount part of it. I'll just turn 45 here. Okay, so now we've got the defensive mount. So we've moved from this position to defensive mount where my chest is low, my arms are out wide, like this, my head's down. But minimal space, in between the chest here. Mitchell's going to get his arms in, he's going to try and lift me up. So what I'm going to do is, instead of getting out of the way, so as he lifts, I'm going to lean forward so he's carrying some weight, and I'm going to swim my arms through to the floor again and drop. And if I do that, I want to try and get my chest to his chest so he can't get his hands back in. Like, if he did that once, if he got his arms in and lifted, I should be here so tight now that he struggles to even get his arms back inside there to lift again. But just for the exercise, he lifts, we lean forward, and we get our hands through to the ground. He does that again. We swing 1, 2, to the ground. The next one is he's going to try and do his elbow escape to get back to half guard, for example. So what he's going to do is turn on his side and he's going to start pushing his knee so he can shove that back into half guard there. Yep, so come back again. Right, so I'm here. He's going to start pushing at this here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to catch his wrist and I'm going to straighten this leg out and then bring the knee back in again, nice and high, and then we're back to defensive mount. So I'll do that nice and slow. Watch when Mitchell goes to post on this leg and tries to shove it. Go back for fraction, puts his hands on it. Right, as he goes to do this, I straighten this leg out, go, push it. Okay, so I don't let him push me this way. So as he pushes that leg, I bring it up, which extends his arm, and now I can hook this arm, now I can slide my knee back in tight, and then we're back here again. So you might try and push that leg, bam, and then we're back to defensive mount again. Another escape that he could do is he could get his hands under my hips here. So like this. And what he's trying to do is, go back for a second, he's trying to lift my hips up like this, pull his knees through, and then sit up in butterfly guard. Okay? It's a type of mount escape you might run into. So when I'm here like this, he actually brings his hands down to my hips so he can bump and bring his knees through, and escape them out like that. So, the indicator there is his hands disappeared. His hands are up top here, and his hands have come down towards the hips. So straight away, what I'm going to do is hug the head with one arm. So now if he tries to lift me up, I squeeze with my legs and my knees. I've got some good contact here with the upper body. It's hard for him to lift me up and create space then. In an attacking sense, whenever our opponent in the mount, whenever their arms come down to our hips, we should immediately attack their neck. So, just for your own knowledge, if I was here like this, and if I'm here and he brings his hands down to my hips, and I grab here, because he's trying to lift my hips up, there's nothing stopping me hitting an Ezekiel choke there, any number of chokes, because his hands are not defending his neck anymore. So the minute I defend his neck, his arms come back up, and then we're back into a nice high mount ready to attack his arms again. So whenever you feel someone's hands come to your hips to lift you and do that type of that type of escape. As soon as I feel his hands go south, I grab the head and I'm ready for him to try and lift. I just stay here nice and tight. If he kept going with this type of escape, as I said, I'd bring this in and attack the neck, which is now undefended. For this drill, basically all we're doing is I'm in defensive mount, he brings his hands down, bam, I swim the head, I hold on, he brings his arms back up, I come back out, he does it again. As soon as I feel those hands come to my hips, I grab the head, I'm ready to squeeze and grab with my legs so he can't lift me up and create that space. Another thing, these are all kind of things that your opponent might do when we're on the mount. A lot of this stuff is self-defense wise, especially at the first stripe white belt level. Because another thing we're looking to do is if someone's in this situation and they don't have a lot of training, something they might do is give their back up. So obviously if you've been doing jiu-jitsu training for a while, you know you don't want to give up your back. But people that don't understand grappling or haven't got that experience, if they're in this position, they're vulnerable, they're facing, everything's exposed, they've tried to get out, they can't get out, they'll panic, they'll spin to their belly and try and get up. So we need to be prepared for that so we don't fall off to the side and end up on the bottom and quite possibly get hurt from there. So what we're looking for is when we're in the defensive mount here, we're looking for an arm is going to come across to the other side, because what that's telling us is this person's going to start to turn their upper body because they want to go and get up. So if he just gets to his hands and knees and gets up and tries to run away, I don't want to fall off here and then eat elbows for the next 5 minutes. So what we're going to do is, when we're here and I feel this hand comes across, we immediately turn to side mount. So we've slid this foot up, it's against the hips. We've got our knee and our foot facing this way. I've slid this knee nice and high behind his shoulder, and I'd be here ready to go to the next stage. My side mount should be that good that he can, because this is tight, I've got him pinned here, hips and shoulders. One, it should be hard for him to even go back to his back again. So if he tries to get back to his back, that should be quite difficult to do, right? So, just like that here again, Mitch. We'll look at that again. We're in defensive mount, our opponent tries to turn, we go to side mount. And I like to get my chest behind this shoulder, because that's another thing is, if he wants to expose his back, thank you very much, we'll take that. So if I can turn to side mount and get my chest behind this shoulder, and if I can get my seat belt, we're ready to take his back if he just freezes. But in this scenario, what he's doing is he's moved to that position, so as he turns to his to go to turtle, we've already got this hook in. So watch, when he turns that way, I'm going to keep my hands on the floor, I'm going to give him the space to come up. I've already got this hook in, right? So then what I do is I pummel the other hook in, and then we look to get an underhook. So I'm going to look for this control, I'm looking for this hand here. So I control this hand. I'm going to pull this into his chest, and then I'm going to use my hand on the floor here, I'm going to straighten my legs, so just watch your other arm there. I'm going to collapse him down, like this. I'm going to keep my weight on top of that arm, and then I'm going to pull my own arm out. So I'm here, I'm on his back, I could attack with strikes, I could attack the neck or whatever. So, just like that here again. Let's have a look at that. Okay, so he turns, we get the side mount, he tries to get up, we punch both hooks in. If I'm a bit too far forward like this, I use this to walk myself back. I keep one hand on the ground, I'm going to go through here and grab his hand. This way I can collapse him down and pull that hand underneath his body and keep my hips forward, pull my hand out, so that hand's effectively trapped, where we could start to come under the neck to finish the fight. So essentially that is keep the mount drill. Attacking mount, defensive mount, and a series of pretty common moves that our partner will do when we're in the mount to try and escape, basically. So let's look at that for, that position. So we'll have a look at that. We'll just roll through that together. So when we get to the mount, we start in attacking mount. So this is our mount drill. I'm just going to go through some of that stuff here now. So we're here, Mitchell grabs the belt, tries to throw us forward. We walk our hips back. We come back up. We might do that a couple of times. Might go to the side. Hand on the floor. Squeeze your legs. Grab the head here as well. So I stay on the mount. So I can come back to the front. Kill the hips and walk back. We might go this way. Here. Walk to the front. Kill the hips. Kill the shoulders. Sit up. So now we're going to move to defensive mount. We're here like this. He's going to try and lift me up. I'm going to lean forward and swim through. Get back nice and low again. Go again. So we go through here. He's going to try and push a leg. So I lift this leg out of the way. I scoop the wrist or the elbow. I come back up nice and high under the elbow. He does that again. Might do the other side. Okay. Yep. He's going to come under the hips, so if I feel his hands come down towards my hips to lift me up, I'm going to grab the head and hold on, ready to kill that. His hands come back out. Come back up. His hands come back to the hips again. I grab here. If his hands stayed there, we could attack. We're back to here again. He's going to roll over and try and get up. Side mount, he keeps going. We put the second hook in. We control the hand. We suck it under, flatten it out, and pull our hand out. Keep our hips down low. Here again, Mitch. Okay, so let's look at that as a set of skills from either attacking mount or defensive mount. So what you can do is grab your partner, you can drill this stuff. He gets to pick what he wants to do and I just have to react. So let's just say I'm in attacking mount. He just does whatever. Easy, and that's our mount drill, keep the mount drill. So in that little series we had our attacking mount, defensive mount, and our back mount. So at the end there we got introduced to back mount or back control. So that is drill number 1, keep the mount drill. Drill number 2, top control drill, I believe. For me. Top control drill is, again, it's the mount drill was about how do we stay in control, how do we keep control when our partner tries to move, our partner tries to change the position. Top control drill is about I want to control my partner as I move from position to position. So we're going to be introduced to some more positions now. In this drill we've got side control, short base side control, long base side control. We've got front control. We've got switch base side control. We've got mount, back to mount again. So let's have a look at that. Some gyms call this drill around the world. Again, it's a good drill you can warm up with. Grab a partner before class and roll through it. Drill 2 for white belt first stripe is top control drill. So we start in short base side control. So my knees are in about the hips and the shoulders, and this drill really emphasises the fact that as we move, We need to control our opponent's hips and shoulders. That's the key to staying or controlling somebody that doesn't want to be controlled. We need to think about how we control the hips and the shoulders. So we start with short base side controls, my knees in, I'm chest on chest, my partner's got his arms in to defend so he doesn't get his arms pushed off his body, he keeps them nice and tight, he defends his neck as well. So we start with my chest is on chest, I've got two arms across here and I'm covering this far arm. Okay, so short base side control. So what we're going to do is transition to long base side control. So you can see what I'm going to transition from here. I'm going to bring this elbow in close to the neck so I can control the shoulders, and I want to control the hips. At the moment, my right knee is in, touching the hip here. It's kind of controlling the hips. It's monitoring what he's doing with this leg, whether he's trying to turn towards us, so if your hip escapes out and tries to pull get his guard back. So this is what my right knee here is. It's touching the hip so I can feel what he's doing with his legs there without looking. But I'm going to move this knee, so I need to replace it with this hand. So when I bring this hand down to the floor next to this hip, okay, we'll have a look at that from the other direction in a second, but that's what we call a doorstop. Okay, so when we want to control the hips, we're going to put our hand just flat on the ground like this. So it's on the floor, but it's up against the hip. So we put our doorstop in. So we start here. Position 1, elbow slides to the shoulder. We put the doorstop in, and now I can move my knees out. And now we're in long base side control. We're going to move to front control here. So I'm going to turn, stay on my toes. I'm going to walk around to the front. And this is where I'm going to bring both my arms around. So my elbows are outside his elbows, outside his arms, and I've got my hands on the floor, either side of the hip. You can grab the belt. I find it easier to put some wedges around his hips, so I'll put a hand either side of the hip here. So now we're in front control here, long base. I'm going to walk to the other side, to here. So this elbow comes to the shoulder, and we put this doorstop. Here's our doorstop on this side, which is just blocking this hip. We're here. Okay. This way for a fraction. Yep, so then what we're going to do is prepare to mount. Okay, so sometimes with this drill people get a bit confused with the next couple of positions, prepare to mount and dismount. It's the same position. So I've blocked the shoulder, this elbow's on the ground, we've got our door stopping. Okay, so I'm going to mount. So what I do is I switch. At the moment this hand is controlling his hips. So I need to take this hand away. So I'm going to replace it with my knee. So I'm going to go from here, I'm going to switch, bring my knee in to replace my doorstop. I've still got this elbow on the floor, so I'm cross body, I'm controlling the shoulders. This knee's controlling the hip line. I've got this foot up here. We're here, this is what I call prepare to mount, or switch base side control, looking at the legs. Now what we're going to do is go to mount. So I'm going to have this hand up so I don't wear a knee to the head, but I can also control the legs here as I go to step over to mount. When I step over to mount, my foot is going to hit the floor like I'm trying to squash a bug on the floor on the other side. Okay, so when I go to mount, I block, foot on the floor, then I pick the elbow up. So I turn with this elbow in my hand, and we go to mount. So we'll look at that at a few different angles in a second. We're here. So I'm in defensive mount. Now we're going to dismount. So I do the opposite of that, which is this elbow comes to the floor on the far side, because I want to control the shoulders. Now we're going to dismount. So I'm going to straighten my left leg out and turn. And I keep my legs squeezed together. Now what I'm going to do is back step into the position we were in here before, which was prepare to mount. Now we're going to dismount to the same position on the other side. So I step out to here, this knee's against the hip, this elbow's on the floor, so we're cross body, shoulders pinned, knee against the hip, this foot's here, knee up, good base. Okay, so now I'm going to go belly down. I want to take this left knee away from his hip, so I put the doorstop back in first. Then I take the knee away, I'll go back to long base side control. I bring both knees in, back to the start, and then this arm comes back, ready to control again. Okay, so I'll roll through that a couple of times and then we'll do a few different angles, we'll have a look at it. Okay, so what I'll also do now is just, when I'm controlling the hips and shoulders, I'll say what I'm doing so you can see. This drill is all about control of the hips and shoulders as I want to move positions. Okay, so I'm controlling the shoulders, control the hip, bam, to here, control the hip, control the shoulders, control the hip, mount, pick this elbow up as I go to mount. We'll talk about that in a second. Dismount, elbow, stretch this leg out, control the shoulders, squeeze my legs together, control the hips. Dismount, control the hips, control the shoulders, door stop, belly down, knees in, control the shoulders, my knee here is controlling the hips. So let's look at that from a different angle. We'll just turn 45. Just go that way, so the head towards there. Across this way for us. Shimmy that way a bit so we're in the centre. Yep. Okay, so I'll just roll through that. Pick this elbow up and I lift it so I can bring this knee up. Alright, if I go to back a step, if I go to mount here and he turns, he's already turning this way to block this knee so he can turn and hip escape and half guard. So he's already into his elbow escape before I've even finished the mount, so I don't want that. Right, so when I'm here, we're here like this, I block, I step over to mount, I grab this elbow, and now I can lift it, get it out of the way, and I can slide this knee up, which finishes the mount. Now we're in the mount. Then dismount. Here, so I can go cross body, straighten this leg out. I squeeze my legs, I dismount, door stop, go belly down, knees in, back to the start. So that is top control drill. You would practice that in both directions. Let's have a look at that. I'll go around one way and then back to the other way. Yep. Perfect. That'll do. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Let's roll through that. Drill 2, top control drill. Drill number 3, basic circuit. So in basic circuit we get introduced to our closed guard. Basic circuit is made up of a mount escape, a guard pass, and a mount. So we're starting to cover new ground with some new stuff, and we're also covering off some stuff we've already done. So we get to practice that again. So both people get to have a go at this drill because you'll do one rep and then it's the other person's go. So again, this is another good drill to grab a partner with at the start of class, warm up with it. So let's have a look at that. Basic circuit, we'll start in the mount, and you move around a little bit for this drill too, so what we'll do is we'll just shimmy this way and I'll go to the mount, go on the bottom. Okay, so just sit up for a second. So to start with, It's a mount escape, so it's our bridge and roll mount escape. When I'm in mount on the bottom, obviously I need to keep my hands up. If they're in attacking mount, we can expect strikes, for example. So I should have my head off the ground, I should have my shell, I should be here, like this. What we need to do is, from this position to begin with, is not let them get a high mount. So what I don't want is his knees way up here, because if he's that high, I've really got not a lot of mobility, and my hips are useless. Okay, so if I lift my hips up from here, it doesn't matter what I do, I can't affect his weight. So if he's back a little bit further, and we'll measure that by, can I get my elbow in front of his leg? Even from here, if I sit up, can I keep my elbows in front of his legs? If I've got my elbows on the inside and in front, that means they're over our hips, here like this. That way, if I lift my hips up, my hips have an effect on him by lifting him up and throwing him forward. So what we're trying to do is get his hands on the floor. So when I'm covered like this, I'm going to sit up and bring my elbows here. If he was right up under if we start in the worst case position here, right, I can't push him away. What I've got to do is cover up, get my elbows in front, and I've got to walk myself back to get my elbows in front. Okay, so once the elbows are in front here, now I can use my elbows on his legs here. I'm going to do a bridge, so his hands hit the floor. I'm going to come on the outside, and I'm going to wrap his arm. I use it like a butterfly grip. I'm going to pull that elbow in and tuck it nice and tight on my chest here. For safety's sake, I'll get him to just put his hand on my shoulder here, so I don't snap his wrist. So we're here. So I've isolated this side of the body, the arm. I need to isolate the same side of the body, this leg here. If I don't isolate this leg, and I try and roll him this way, he'll just step that foot out and we'll go nowhere. Okay, so we've isolated an arm. We step the same side as arm we've got. We step over the foot, we'll just step it over, we'll just drag it back in, so I'm touching this foot. We're here. If I can't reach this foot, if he's too high, so come up a fraction, so I might be here like this, that means I've let him get way too high. I can't control this leg, right? So if we slide back a fraction, slide down a bit. Okay, so we're here. So if he's a bit high there, and I can't find this foot, I need to get this elbow involved so I can get it in front of his leg, so I can keep it there and I can move away. Now I can find this foot. I can step over here like this. So even though we've got this arm and this leg isolated, if I try and throw him this way, his other hand might come over. He might post that. Rightio, and that might be all he needs to smash us back, and we have nothing again. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go, we've got here, we've got this foot trapped. What I'm going to do is make him post on the ground this way by giving him another push forward, right? As soon as that hand hits the floor, my hips are up, they stay up, and I just roll to this side. Okay, so as soon as we land in the close guard, we're going to have our head down, and we're going to come inside the arms, inside the biceps here, so we don't get punched. Keep our head low. And what we're going to do is walk ourselves backwards and get some posture back. So now we're in Mitchell's close guard here. So what we want to do is keep our posture. If Mitchell grabs hold of us, he drags us down, we're down here. Now that's not where we want to be. So what we're trying to do is walk ourselves backwards to here. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to grab the lapel here, the jacket, so I can pull it. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to pull it so some weight comes off his head and his shoulders. And I'm going to give it to this hand about where his floating rib is. I'm going to keep this elbow turned in so I can close this gap against my ribs. I don't want him getting his leg up there. Right, so I keep this closed. All right, I'm going to come back to either grab the pants or I can grab the belt or the jacket on the hip here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this knee in and put it square in the centre of his butt, and then I'm going to move this leg backwards so I can make myself longer. I'm trying to open his ankles. That's what we're doing here. I'm trying to open his ankles up. So I keep my head up, I come up, I put my knee into the middle of his butt, and then I push his hips into the ground and I step this leg back so his ankle's open. I keep this elbow pinned to my own ribs. I'm going to come under this leg, like this. I'm going to bring it up onto my shoulder. I'm going to bring a thumb in to the gi here, and I grab a thumb-in grip nice and tight next to his neck. I'm going to stay in line here. So what I want to do now is I want his hips up off the ground, right? If I stay here and his hips are on the ground, if I try and get past this leg like this, he's just going to put this foot on the ground. He's going to hip escape that way. Like even if I get past this leg, he can bring this shin back in, he can cross over this leg could even step over. Right, so we need to get his hips up off the ground. Okay, so let's just slide back this way again. Okay, so close guard. So this is called basic guard pass. I grab the jacket, I pull it tight, I get a good grip, and I pull my elbow inside. I can grab the belt or the pants here, knee to the centre, ankles open, keep my head up. I stay in line with him here, and I get this thumb in grip. Now what I'm going to do is just push directly forward so his hips come up off the ground. Bang. So hips are up. Now I walk around and I just fall into this hole. And then we go elbow on the ground against the shoulder. And I switch my base, and here we are in the same position we're in, ready to mount. Okay, we just covered this position in top control drill. So again, I'm blocking here so I don't get a knee to the head, and I can control the legs here. I step over, mount. Now I'm going to pick this elbow up so he doesn't start his hip escape already. Even if he's got this hand out and he's blocking that, we just did this again in the mount drill. We keep this arm up where I can bring my knees up now, and we move up into mount where I would sit up ready to start. Mitchell's, he could go through all that again. So let's look at that again, roll through that. So we start in the mount. Again, I need to keep my elbows in here, so I don't want him getting up under there. Right? If he does, I've got to cover my head, I've got to get my elbows in tight. I have to move myself back. Now we keep our elbows here, we bridge and get his hands on the ground. We control one arm, we pin it to our chest. If I need to, I get my elbow in front of this leg so I can trap his foot. And then we bridge him forward again to get some weight on that hand. Even if that hand's on the ground, I'm going to put some weight in it, and we immediately bridge to the side then. We end up in the close guard, we keep the arms pinned, keep our head down, and then we move back, keep our posture, we get this grip here, we can grab the pants here, we can grab the belt, and come up, open the ankles, up on the shoulder, keep this in. If he gets this, as soon as I go under this leg, and he gets under my arm, I'm going to get triangled. I've just brought this leg on the outside. Okay, so I cannot let him get this leg against my rib, so I keep this closed. If he tries to triangle me now, bang, I just complete the pass here. I passed again, so let's go back and we'll do that guard pass again. So a little bit faster, and it look like this. Make sure I keep my head up, come up, get the ankles open. Forward. Okay, so we move into here, we're ready to mount. Knee here, block the hip, we're here, bang, control this arm so he doesn't stop my mount, so I can come up in the mount. Easy. Do that again. Okay, ready. Magic. Basic circuit, drill number 3. Knee ride drill, everyone's favourite. Let's have a look at that. So if we slide Mitchell back this way, so knee ride drill. Again, it's going to introduce another position for us, which is knee ride, but we also get to see our short, long base side control, we've got our front control, we've got our mount, we've got our dismount, so we get all that stuff again, and we get introduced to the new position of knee ride. So knee ride is, it's a great position for self-defense. If I'm in the mount, I'm kind of committed to the grapple, right? It's hard for me to then detach here. If I tried to stand up and get away, he could grab my legs and tackle me to the ground or whatever. So, but in knee ride, if I'm in knee ride here and I want to remove myself from this situation, it's easy to detach and move away. Say for a self-defense situation, it's a good way to pin someone, pin the hips, pin the shoulders, control the wrists so they're not punching us. We negotiate, and if we need to, if there's more than one opponent coming at us or whatever, we could easily detach. If someone walks out of a restaurant and we're on the pavement and we're like this, God forbid, or maybe he's turning over and now we're trying to take his back, this just doesn't look good. It's hard to see who's the aggressor there. If I'm in this position, I'm negotiating, I'm saying, hey buddy, what's the problem? It's pretty easy to see someone's in control, they're not violent. Really easily I could just move away if I have to. If I'm here and this person is out of control, like I'm having trouble controlling this person, I would upgrade that to mount them to defensive mount so I could keep control of this person. So when we talk about knee ride, I just keep putting your arms on the ground. When we talk about knee ride, there's kind of an arc where we could have our leg across the belt line here, so horizontal to the hips, all the way up to straight up and down along the sternum. And there's varying degrees of control and pain or discomfort. So, let's chuck your arms out of the way for a second. So, if I was, let's just turn this way for a second. If I just go straight across the hips here, like this, great control, okay? From the other side, I've got my instep against the hip, my shins all the way across the hips here. So here, so I've got great control of the hips. Okay, so I've got good control. If they try and move around, I'm really stuck here. It's really stuck to his hips here. But it's comfortable for him. It's not uncomfortable. Okay, so here, if I go all the way to my ankle is just on the hip, but my leg is almost vertical on the chest here. In other words, my knee is pretty much straight in the middle of the sternum. Really uncomfortable. They're in a lot of discomfort. They're not going to handle that for too long, but it's not great control. If I have my knee here, like this, it doesn't take much of a bump to push that off, and I've lost control. So you can see, anywhere between here, which is lots of control, not much discomfort, all the way around to bugger all control, lots of discomfort. You got that arc, right? So you can operate anywhere between, depending on what you're trying to do. So for this drill, we're just going to have our shin across the belt line for our knee ride drill. Okay, so let's have a look at it. We start in, again, short base side control. So knees in, control the shoulders. We're here like this. First thing is we're going to move to knee ride, right? So this hand is going to sweep around here, because what I don't want to do is bring this hand over here and have him grab my hand, okay? So what I'm doing is sweeping it round in an arc, coming under his head, and I'm going to put my thumb in the back of the jacket and I grab hold of his jacket here. So I can pin, I can make a fist then, put my knuckles on the ground, and I've essentially stapled the back of his jacket or stapled his shoulders to the ground. Okay, so this one goes around I put the thumb in the jacket. This one's going to come up and grab the belt line just on top of the hip. Okay, so then what I'm going to do a push-up off my hands. So as I do a push-up, I only come up enough to get my knee through. I'm not going to go like that. Okay? Watch, I only come up just enough to punch the knee through. So we're here, and I want to transition from side control to knee ride. I pin the shoulders, I pin the hip, bang, and I jump into knee ride. So I've got the knee across the belt line, and I've got this foot out here like this with my knee facing up. So I've got some balance. I don't want to put this leg too close to him so I can underhook it. It's going to be out here a little bit. When we move to knee ride, each time in this drill, we're going to hit 2 grips, right? We want to grip on the collar next to the neck, and we want to grip on the arm closest to us. So when we think about moving through this drill, one of the things I talk about is, when I'm teaching this, every time you go to knee ride, get the grips. Every time you want to move to the next position, let go of the grips. Okay, so the last thing you do when you go to knee ride is get the grips. The first thing you do when you're moving from knee ride is let go of the grips. So you can see that from here. So let's go to knee ride. So we go 1, 2, boom. Now I'm in knee ride, so what I've got to do is get some grips, all right? So he's going to have his hands up here defending himself. I need my hand to go through his hands, like this, and grab the collar, fingers deep on my side of his collar here. Okay? This hand was already on that collar. I had a thumb grip, right? So I just hold that collar out with this hand. So have your arms in, because I want to come through your hands. And I go deep and I get that collar. Then this hand touches the shoulder, slides down to the elbow, and I get a grip like this, just above the elbow. Okay, so I've got these 2 grips. Right now, I'm just sitting down so you can see my hands, but essentially, remember we talked about this is good control, not a lot of discomfort. There is discomfort, but not as much as that way. So our partner is going to be uncomfortable for this, but life's uncomfortable. So we've got these 2 grips, and I come up to my knee ride position. I'm here. Okay, so what they're going to do is they're going to try and turn or roll away from us. So we're going to control this top arm. So I get 2 hands on it, and I push it and I stand. I'm going to step to the other side. I'm going to back step. I'm going to push them back onto their back again. I'm going to slide in and jump to knee ride on the other side. I've got to knee ride. I go through this again. 1, 2, we've got our grips. Okay, so every time we go to knee ride, we get our grips. When we go to move, we let go of our grips, then we move. Okay, so we're here. So now we're going to go to mount from here, right? So I'm going to let go of my grips. I'm going to control the shoulders by blocking the head with this hand. I'm going to block the hip with this hand. I'm going to bring this knee in against their body. And now as I go over here to knee ride, I'm going to pop this foot over. We'll have a look at that in a couple of different angles. Again, we want to lift this elbow up so they don't frame our knee and go straight into a mount escape. Okay, so we've blocked the shoulders here, I've blocked the hip, I've brought this knee in against the body. Now what I do is I collect this elbow and I lift it and turn and I pop this foot over, and now we're in mount. Okay, now we're going to dismount to knee ride. So I just turn this foot off. I pop up, I go through the center again, I get my grip, we're here. Now we're going to dismount. So I go out, I'm going to block this shoulder, I'm going to block this hip, and then I'm going to slide off, and then I'm going to come back to the start again. So it is quite uncomfortable for the person on the bottom. I don't give them full-blooded knee ride each time we do this, but it's good for them. Let's look at that again. 1, 2, bang. Knee ride, grip, grip. They turn a bit. Grip, grip, mount. a bit faster. Knee right drill. Drill 4. How was that? Good. Drill 5, side control escape drill. Again, we get introduced to a couple of new techniques, a couple of new positions, and we get introduced to our first takedown. So let's have a look at the side control escape drill. Side control escaping here is, there's a kind of like a beginner, advanced, beginner intermediate detail here. Good. Beginner and intermediate detail here. And we'll just have a look at both of them. So when we're in side control here, let's actually turn the other way. Okay, so when we're in side control here, what I'm going to try and do in this escape is try and turn towards him. So the first thing I'm going to do is get my top arm under his chin so I can grab his shoulder here. So now when I lift my elbow up, I can create some space. I've also got this arm in against the hip. So I've got my forearms here, a couple of frames so I can create some space. Mitchell's going to have a cross face here, so this arm's going to be on the other side, right? So we need to be prepared for, this hand, if he's trying to give us some shoulder pressure here, this hand is going to lift his chin up so we can relieve some of that pressure. Now what we're going to do is, if I turn this way friction, okay, I'm going to move my feet out. So I need to create a gap here on this side. So I'm going to walk my feet away so I can turn back this way. And then I'm going to block his hips with both my hands here. I'm going to spin belly down and walk my legs away to here. I'm going to defend my neck and come to turtle position. Okay, so I've moved. What we'll notice there is I'm going to move backwards, not move my knees in. So Mitchell's going to be sprawled on my back. So I've landed here, right? And defended my neck. Okay, I'm going to move backwards. Okay, so that was different to this. See how my knees came in? So I do that again. I go backwards. Okay, we're going to get our partner to just post on the floor like this. So as I go backwards, his hands are going to hit the floor. We're just going to control this wrist. And then he's going to try and go back and sit on his feet. Just like sit. Yeah, like that, right? So I'm going to keep control of this wrist. And I'm going to lift it up. I'm going to shoot in underneath it. I'm going to keep control of this wrist. Because as I come under this arm, I don't want to be relaxed here and have him grab my neck. Okay, so I'm going to come in. My right hand's going to grab the pants on his far knee. So as I shoot in here, I keep his arm elevated, my head's up. I'm going to start to drive him this way. And as we start to move, I'm then going to control his legs so I can push past his legs. Okay, so this is our first introduction to our double leg takedown. Once we've taken our partner to the ground, we need to walk our shoulder up their body towards their head and their shoulders. We'll have a look at that from the other angle. Let's just say it's some friction. Slip back, just jump up against the hand. Let's just say I've moved in here. I drive, bang. Now I try and, if I stay here and bring this arm around here, he could Kimura that, like he could attack that arm, and he could frame me away, he could push me away, and then re-guard. Okay, so as we've done our takedown and we've got control of the knees here, we've landed here, I'm gonna walk myself up his body first. So we're here, right, I'm gonna walk my shoulder up so I can then cross face safely and block the hip with a doorstop, and we're ready to establish side control. Okay, so we're just going to look at that in a few different angles. It's pretty short and sweet. We'll look at some of that side control escape. Okay, so get our frames in place. We need to get this arm under the chin so I can hook his shoulder and create some space, even pulling the shoulder away from my face so I can walk my feet away and start to block his hips so I can roll to my belly. I walk my feet as far away as possible. And then I spin to my belly, I'm going to defend my neck from here. So as I turn, I'm going to defend my neck. I'm going to back out, grab the wrist. As he goes backwards, I'm going to shoot double leg. Don't let go of his legs. I walk my body up, shoulder up, so I can get a cross face, door stop, and we're in side control. Let's have a look at that from the other side. Here somewhere. Here somewhere. So that's a pretty easy one. Drill number 5, side control escape drill. That type of side control escape, what we did there is we blocked his hips and walked our legs away from him, because what we don't want to do is expose our back. So when I'm here and I walk myself out to here, or block the hips, I don't want to try and turn towards him now, okay, because I'm exposing my back. He could start to step over and take my back here. Bam! Or he could go around this way. Got that? So always, we've got to be prepared for that too. So let's have a look at that. I'm here, walk, push your hips, my hips away, bang, and we're out. Doing that fairly quickly, it's pretty effective. So that's the side control escape drill. With seniors sometimes, and beginners, we'll get them to do a side control escape to guard as well. So we want you to be able to escape side control to turtle or your knees, and we want you to escape side control back to your guard. So let's have a look at that. It's the same position here. I walk out. This time I can punch a shin through. Use this cross face here to create some space. So I can move back and drop one foot in, drop the second foot in. Set up butterfly guard, get some grips. Maybe pull them into your closed guard from there. Just have a look at that. Again, say about here somewhere. Here. Again. It's really good move, that last one. Create some space, spin back in, find a shin, use that shin and your cross face to create some space and get your guard back. Use that all the time. Let's have a look at that again quickly. So I need to create some space here. I need some space over here to turn back in. So if he wants to stay nice and tight to this hip, good idea. So he doesn't want me to have that space. And then I can use this and my shin in the hip to create that space to get my butterfly hook in or pull him into the close guard from there. So that is 5 drills, first stripe white belt. It's a really good little workout. Like if you got those 5 drills, you can just bust all 5 of them out. 10 minutes, even if you do that non-stop for 10 minutes. It's a really good workout. When we do the gradings and the guys go through those 5 drills, they usually got a good sweat going after that. So I'll just do all 5 in a row now from start to finish, just to wrap it up. Okay, number 1, kick them out. So we start in attacking now. Just go straight into ready? Got him out. Tidy.